Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I'm your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67. And with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty okay. I didn't really do anything today. I got back at like 3 something in the morning. And then proceeded to like lay down in bed, watch a little bit of I want to say it was like either like Hotel Hell or some other like YouTube thing, and then I passed out and I woke up at like 11 o'clock later. I was still tired, so then I like got up, played some like Monster Hunter, watched some episodes of The Good Place and everything, and then laid back down because I was just tired. Finished up The Good Place, then fell asleep, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up at 8 o'clock to my alarm saying to get up for the podcast. And I was like, oh my lord, I did nothing today except sleep and watch a show and played like a game for like a couple hours or so. So crazy day to say the least, all over the place. Yeah, that's what I did. I mean I enjoyed it. Like I had a good old time, but I guess I need it. Like, like they say, like sometimes you just need something, so you just pass out or you just can't function. I guess that's what it was. But what about you, Austin? How was your day?
I just really didn't do too much. I went to Akron this weekend to see my buddy Mikey.
Nice.
And then pretty much didn't do too much. So, I've been pretty much not doing too much. Just hung around, played guitar for a while. Didn't really do too much.
Yeah,
I know that I've been like, kind of just,
yeah.
I haven't done really too much. Like I'm just like sitting around, not really doing too much. I'm like, pretty much I've just been at work this whole week, and then I've had like some things going on that just been like really, really hard and stuff like that. So like, I'm just trying to focus on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. So
it's stressful too,
Yeah. So
not much you can do.
It's been a roller coaster,
Yeah. Well, I know like last week we didn't have an episode, but that was on me because I went back home, hung out with Josh, did a hot sauce wing challenge stuff with him and a bunch of his friends. And also went to John's and repaired my PC a little bit with some things. Still waiting on the GPU. Hasn't came in yet. Paid like $700 for that. Still waiting. I'm going to start a claim service with Newegg to be like, hey, I never got my part. What's going on here? Because both of the tracking says it's just delayed, not that it's been lost. So that's maybe why they haven't reached out to me yet. But it's enough for me to be like, hey, look, it's been almost 2 weeks since it was supposed to be delivered. We need to resolve this somehow. But yeah, like Monster Hunter's been good. That wing tasting challenge was really good. I actually have a couple of the sauces here. I have he bought this one. You may like this one. This is the black truffle hot sauce. It wasn't high on the hot scale, but a lot of people some people liked it, other people hated it. Josh hated it. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say. And then this one is a local place in Pittsburgh. It's called like Fuego. It's some like artisan person, but this one's called like Applewood Smoked Kitchen Sink. It's medium hot. It wasn't super hot. It had enough to like give you a kick. So if you don't like spice, it's gonna be hot. But if you like hot, it's going to be that nice flavor. It's made in Old Brooklyn. I don't know where Old Brooklyn is in Ohio. But or maybe it's not even in Ohio. Maybe it's somewhere else. But they got it at some like convention thingy in Ohio. They said, but that was good. None of the hot sauces were hot until the very last one, and we got one that was like 66.6 million Scoville units, made with like Pepper X and all that stuff. And we all decided to have the last couple together, and I convinced Josh to do a shot of one with me, and he regretted it instantly. I had no issue with it. He almost threw up the second he did it.
Oh wow.
And then when we all did the final one together, that basically killed the mood. Like that one, it was such a drastic jump from the other ones to that one. Oh, it was rough. Like everything burned. It was always my mouth and my lips. It wasn't anywhere else. Everyone else was complaining about like their throat and their stomach feeling upset. I had no issue. It got to the point Josh wanted to have like some type of a game night where everyone did like a roulette kind of style thing if they lost. But that didn't end up panning out because the second someone tried to select a game, we all went, no, we're good. We don't want to play. And we all just sat there drinking milk and eating ice cream for like a good 1 to 2 hours. And
oh, that's fun.
Yeah, no, it was so fun. It was funny. And then, you know, Sunday and Monday, I spent the whole time basically at John's house playing Monster Hunter and doing all that stuff. So it was a good old time. And then I came back and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, that's why we didn't have a show that week, because I was doing that. And now,
well, and I was in Pittsburgh that weekend too. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you were in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was the second stop.
We went to a place that I will have to deem as Willy Wonka's experience. I've never experienced a bad, like, you know, where you pay to get in thing.
Yeah.
And I got to experience that finally. Jurassic Quest is a complete waste of money. Do not go to it, people. It was awful. It felt like the Willy Wonka experience. Like, you know, because like when you see the previews for Jurassic Quest, they have like animatronic dinosaurs, and you're like, that's so cool. That's going to be awesome. And then like you walk in and they had like an animatronic T-Rex. This is at the convention center in Pittsburgh, the David Lawrence or whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Where Techco's held.
Yeah.
And so they had an animatronic T-Rex, and I was like, oh, dude, that looks sweet. Can't wait for it. And then we went like right around the banners. And then the rest of the time, it was just like really crappy displays of dinosaurs. Like really bad. Like it like there was a pterodactyl, and you could clearly tell that like the wings were tarps. Like it was that bad. Like it was like tied up, and you're just like we're paying money to see this, and then they're like, you know what? There's only 5 dinosaurs you can see, and the rest you get a bounce house, another bounce house. Someone's gonna come dressed up as a raptor, and they don't like. He had like black pants on, and then like the raptor feet didn't like go in the black pants. He was just like, it was like a raptor with human feet. It was bad. It was just really bad. And so after that, we felt bad. So I went to the Illusion Museum in downtown Pittsburgh. Well, actually North Shore, over there by Stage A&E. And that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. A lot of cool illusions that you can do with stuff. I have like videos of me messing around with his little Ezra. And we're like messing around with the mirrors and stuff. And like, do you remember like when you were a kid, they had like this toy, and it like had a bunch of pins on it, and you put your hand in it, and it like made the indention on the other side. So they have like a full-size human one at the Illusion Museum, and we were messing with that for like a good 25 minutes. So we were like, this is so satisfying.
Because when you're a kid, when you're playing with that, you're like, man, I wish I had like a massive one of these.
That totally
they
just
do.
like it did. It made me feel good when I went through. I was like, this is fun. So that was a lot of fun. We got to do that, and then we just hung out. You know, I haven't seen my buddy Seth in a while. You know, we were talking about, you know, he's getting married in October. So he was like, hey, you know, like, we're ready for like, you know, in your ceremony or whatever it was. So it was a lot of fun. Then we sat around and watched Brandon's never watched Almost Heroes, the Chris Farley movie.
Yeah.
So we watched it, and then Seth ended up falling asleep because everyone was really tired for the weekend. So yeah, and then I came back and I was like, yeah, okay. So really didn't do too much this weekend, but last weekend I was in Pitt and doing all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that sounds good. I'm glad you had fun there. I've never been to the Illusion Museum there, but I know what's there because of people like telling me about the stuff and like showing me pictures of some of the illusions. So maybe that's something I should head by and try one time. I don't know.
There is an illusion that I just laughed at, and Seth and Brandon got the reference I made. There's like a ladder, and it looks like a tunnel, and then it's like a mirror over top of it, so it's an endless ladder. And I was like, snake, the ladder. So it's like, endless ladder. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool illusions you can do there, so it's pretty sweet. So.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Worth the one-time visit. I will say it's not a 2-time visit thing.
You say that, and then you go there with kids, and then they're like, we never want to leave, and we want to come back next time.
Yep.
Well, Austin, speaking of illusions, we watched... Segue. We watched season 2 of The Good Place. This is a show that we watched 2 weeks ago, season 1, and then this one is season 2. Austin, I want to know, what did you think of Good Place season 2? Because you were you enjoyed season 1, but it seemed like you were kind of like reserved about some of the cast or whatnot. You had a little bit of like, you're like, yeah, it's fine, like.
Yeah, like there was some. I have a lot of hatred towards certain actors. Like I just don't like them.
Yeah, I know you have an irrational hate towards Patton Oswalt, and I never understood it.
He deserves it. Watch Cars, Coffee and Cars with Jerry Seinfeld in him, and that episode made me just like really not like that man. Yeah, even though he picked a DeLorean to drive, and then it like broke down like within like 3 minutes, and I was like, yeah, it's a DeLorean. What do you expect? So I will say this season was a lot more in depth. I enjoyed a lot of the jokes with this season. I thought it was a lot more funny. I would have to say I did like season 2 better because it could be because there is an actor in this season that I truly love, and he's like been in almost every comedy show I've watched.
Jason.
And that's Jason's Momokas or Samokis or whatever his name is, or Momoka. I don't know. Momoka. I don't remember.
I always think of him from Harmon Quest. That was my first introduction to him, where he played like Namfoodles or something like that, and then they like help him get to the king, and then he's like, ha, ha, he goes like crazy, and they're like, what the freak? And everyone's like, I wasn't Namfoodles, I was Food Nandos. I killed the king. And then he like goes crazy, and like it completely derails the whole game. And I just remember laughing so hard uncontrollably. He's such a great like
physical comedy. Like he's really good at like that physical comedy.
Yeah,
like he uses like this technique where it's just silliness, but he ramps up the silliness to a point where you're like, okay, this is funny because he's making it even more silly.
Yeah.
Because I love him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's like one of my favorite characters in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and his name in Brooklyn Nine-Nine just makes me laugh. His name's Pimento
and cheese.
But so, everyone makes a joke. He's like, I'm Pimento, I'm a partner. I used to have a partner named Cheese, like stuff like that. But he's like a nut in that one, and he's like a nut in most of his ones. But like the first introduction I ever had of him was an animated show that I do not recommend anyone to watch because I did not like it. But he was in it, and then I was like, hey, this guy's pretty funny. And that was Big Mouth. That was the first introduction from him. He played like one of the characters. And then he was in Close Enough.
Yep.
And then, and he's just been in so many things. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he was in this. So I think that's what really helped with that. And also Maya Rudolph being in like the end of this episode. The end of the season was really cool.
Which one's Mayor Rudolph?
Her. She's the judge.
Oh, okay, yeah, I recognize her. Yeah, I recognize her. I don't know her name or anything like that.
Yeah, she is really funny. I enjoy her comedy. I think she's hilarious. She does a really good Kamala Harris impression. So like she was on SNL for years and she did like the Kamala Harris impression with Joe Biden and stuff with Jim Carrey. So it's been pretty fun with that. So I will say with this season, I like this season a lot better. I think the story's a little bit better than just like this, oh, hey, you know, something's wrong here. Now we know that something is really wrong here. And I liked the turn that happens like halfway through the season where he realizes he's like, yeah, these people are like unionizing. So like I have to get these humans to side with me. Yeah. And some of the characters that they introduce in this season, I actually thought were really funny. Especially the girl that when they go like, they go on the train, they go far away and they find her and it's like, where's all of my cocaine? And it's like, what are you talking about? He's like, dang it, it was erased.
Well, that was in the first season. That was in the first season whenever they first meet her.
Oh, my camera.
Oh, your camera went out. Ha ha ha. Now we have a beautiful picture.
I have to like, I don't know what happened. Here, hold up 1 second. You can talk while I.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 1 second as in the form of like, oh, I'm going to unplug myself and plug myself in or something like that real quick. No, just she was in the first season because that's where they find about the medium place, and they all like went there and everything. Oh, so I mean, it's a thing. I know, Molly. I'm here. I'm petting you. My cat is just really affectionate right now, and I don't know why. And so I'm petting her up. But no, like she was in it. I think like for me, the big twist, it wasn't even a twist. I was kind of surprised there wasn't a big twist in the end. Like I thought there was going to be. I thought we were going to find out at the end of this season that the good place was actually the bad place for him.
What's going on?
You may just need to like unplug it and plug it back in, Austin.
Oh no. I think my camera might be dying.
Probably
what
not.
Happened? My camera.
But no, like I don't know. I just thought because of how everything was kind of working out and how it was failing over and over again, we were going to find out like he's actually in the bad place and this is his punishment or whatnot. And it's punishment for all of them. But I guess that didn't really like come to fruition really. And so instead it was just a very like down to earth episode.
Movies. Let's see.
It was just a very sudden, like very down to earth season of like, hey, these people have to fake being tortured. And then if they do good enough, they can go to the good place, which I like the concept. It had like that level of like, hey, we know what's actually up here. We're going to handle this. But things still went bad, funnily enough. Thanks, Molly. I appreciate you knocking everything off with your tail. But no, just like it was good. Like I enjoyed the crud out of the season. I really thought that's where it was going to go with the whole thing that Michael's actually the one being tortured and not them. But you know, you mentioned I think I mentioned last time about the trolley problem, right? How the trolley problem was present in the first season. And then this season they just straight up call it episode The Trolley Problem. And they go into like the deep metaphysics about it. And it's funny to me because like through the whole episode or anything, they're trying to get Michael to like rationalize or be it or whatnot. But at the end of it, it's like he doesn't really care. He's just like torturing you this. Though I do find it funny that Chidi was like, hey, I can't kill because that's unethical. And he's like, well, say that to their children or to their families who are these dead people, and you could kill one person and save them all. And then he's like, what the freak? And it's like, yeah, sometimes the most ethical thing is not the most like humane thing, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, because like that part I laughed at where it was like, he's like, now we're gonna do the trolley again, but then your friend is actually the one that you need to save. And then I did like the setup where it was like, now you have to do this operation or whatever. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. And he's like, but it's your friend. I was just like, yep, okay. So these jokes are hitting a little bit better. I think you know, because like sometimes it's hard to start off because you're building character development.
Yeah.
And so, you know, once you get to like a second season of a show, I believe that it becomes a better show most of the time. It's really hard to like get through a first season because like some of the best shows I've ever watched, it's hard to like watch a first season and be like, this is a really good show.
Yeah, unless the first season is
Comedy
like
wise.
what I think normally tends to happen, and I think I can say this from all the shows that we end up watching. It's normally what normally happens is the first season is good, the second season's amazing, then the third season goes bad.
Yeah.
Or what happens is the first season's amazing, the second season goes bad, and then the third season either goes worse or it gets okay again.
Yeah.
I think that's where that normally stands, because like sometimes like if a show is really good season 1, it's probably because it's like this story is good for a single season. Don't extend. And if it's really good season 2, it's because they're not putting all their eggs in their basket in season 1, because they're kind of afraid that like it could get canceled.
Well, because
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of shows where like season 1 is really good and then season 2 is terrible. Because like look at Game of Thrones, like House of Dragon. Like season 1 is a good season, and then season 2 was
But that's an outlier because of the reason why it was bad was not because of the writing or anything. It was because of the budget cuts made by HBO and Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
that was a production.
That's why I'm kind of excited for Last of Us season 2, but I'm not, because I'm like, do they? I think they'll give them the budget that they need.
They should. I would be shocked if they didn't, if I'm being honest.
No, you never know. But yeah, so this season was good. I enjoyed this season. I thought there was there was a bunch of great moments. I did like the ending. I thought the ending was really interesting because it was like, okay, because when she snapped, I was like, oh no, we're like back to the same old reverse type kind of deal. But then we're like, oh hey, no, they're like back on Earth, and they're going to watch them like, what was it, live through their life if they would have lived. And I was like, huh. And then we found out like, so we got to see her death. We got to see what was it, the other girl's death, which was like really weird. Like I was just like, wow, she was crushed by a statue, I think it was. I don't remember. Do you remember?
No.
I think
say again.
It was the girl that ends up like with is his name Jacob? Like he's pretending to be the monk, but he's actually the drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like died in the episode. Like it showed her death where she
where she gets crushed by the statue
of her sister. Yeah, and then we got to see. I don't remember. Did we get to see? I'm trying to think. Anyone else's death really?
We saw the Jason's death with the safe. We saw the Tahani's death, and we also saw not like in full fruition, but we saw the main girl's Eleanor's death as well. We also saw Chidi's death too.
Oh, that's right. We did.
Yeah, because he couldn't make a decision, then the thing fell on him.
Yeah.
Which I would argue, he of everyone in the cast, he's the only one that I'm like, he shouldn't be going to hell. Like,
no.
Or shouldn't be going to the bad place, because just because you can't make a decision on something and then the world continues without you.
I have a theory on that. Like, I just have this theory after I've seen that where I'm
Go
like,
ahead.
hmm.
Say
I just
theories. I
feel-
don't care.
Okay, so I really don't think he belongs there, which,
Yeah.
you know, he has no reason to be there. I think what it is they thought, oh, I'm going to torture them. Like, I feel like the torture is actually them bringing Cheat in to make them be better people. And he's always the one that they go to because, like, she goes back to him multiple times in this season. So I really think that the torture is actually teaching them that they need to be better people. Instead of being...
That's basically what's happening, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on if it's orchestrated by,
I
like,
think
if
it
Che's
is.
involved. I'm going to say no.
I don't think
And the
he's
reason
involved.
why, well, no,
I don't think he's involved, but I think this is a setup to show that bad people can change. And
Well,
this
yeah.
isn't really a torture thing. What it is it's showing a way that we can get people out of the bad place, or like from going to the bad place before they like go to the bad place.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I think
I think that's very possible. I'm more on the line of thinking either this is a elaborate thing for Michael, which I thought was going to be the reveal this season, which far from that. Or we're going to find out that this is actually the medium place, and that's why they're able to go to other people's medium place.
Yeah.
And it's trying to like sort them out because they had like a very like mediocre, like they were bad people, but they were bad for in connect, like they're like too medium, right?
Yeah.
Because like what's messed up, right, is that we have a contradiction in their reason for bad place, good place. Because Tahiti is in the bad place because she did all this good stuff, but only ever did the good stuff hoping that people would recognize her and get her recognition. Well, if you remember, the girl in the medium place basically like did horrible things all life, and then something like a bad thing happened to her and it created like this great fund that saved a bunch of people, and she got like basically her numbers scored out. She didn't do that. She was just a byproduct of that, and yet she got good points for it. Tahisha got points because she did something selfish that benefited like multiple people.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense why she's there by their own story cantation. So there's a side that's like, it makes more sense that this is actually, they're all in the medium place, and instead of whenever someone gets placed, they're like, oh, you're actually a medium person, we don't know what to do with you, so instead we put you in this situation and we keep making things change and grow to see if you lean more good or more bad, and then that's where you go. Like, that makes sense to me. Because like you're seeing it with like Eleanor, she's leaning more good now. Even after the ending, she started leaning more good. Don't know about the other people. It would be absolutely hilarious if they all leaned bad. Because like that was kind of the joke at the end there, with like Eleanor being like, yeah, you actually succeeded, everyone else failed, but you gotta go. Also, I will say the little like test that they did at the end, super stupid if those are supposed to be like actual like morality, like are you a good person or not. If the one girl just had to walk down that a hallway and not go in a room where people were talking about her, what does that prove? Anything? That she doesn't care what other people think? That's not indicative of a good person. That's just indicative to her personality.
No, they were faking her out like Chevy Chase did in Community with the whole like diss that he gave Shirley.
Yeah. but like it doesn't make sense. Like
No,
the one for like Eleanor, actually that was a real like challenge, right? She was given the chance to go to the good place, but everyone else had to go to the bad place. She had to make the decision, right? And all that stuff. She saw through it and she called it out. Cheese was just him with two hats. What does that have to do with being a good person or not? Nothing whatsoever. It's just a thing of him. And furthermore, I am 100% convinced with how he describes the issues he has with making decision. That boy does not have like decision issues. I think he just has some form of autism or ADHD, and if he just gets a little bit of medication correctly done, I don't think he's going to have that like scraping in the back of his head like he described. It's very weird to me that in the show, whenever they talk, and he described that scraping in the back of his brain anytime he has to make a decision. Markiplier actually did a video where he was talking about his ADHD, and he explained that he's like, it sounded like sandpaper in the back of my brain anytime I had to do something. The more I had to do it, the louder that got. And I'm just like, it just sounds like Gigi just has this, and it's messed up if they go to say like he deserves the bad place because he has ADHD, because the whole world's doomed. Like we all have some form of it, some of us more than others, and like that's a stupid reason for someone to go to the bad place if they just can't make decisions. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to rant like that. That was just something that as I was watching it, I'm just like, this makes no freaking sense.
Oh, no.
And then same with Jason, right? Or not Jason, but Justin or whatever the one guy's name is. He's in the bad place because he's stupid. They're just like, he's good intention. He's a nice guy. He's just not smart. John Yu. I just saw his name pop in. It's John Yu. None of these characters make sense. However, it all makes sense if you put them in the level of like medium place kind of deal thing, you know, where it's like, it's not that you deserve the bad place or the good place. It's just your different issues that you have made you unable to be labeled as a good person or a bad person because you've done bad things unintentionally. You have done good things unintentionally, things like that. I'm like, that makes sense to me. Like, if they go that direction, I'll be completely cool with it. And you know what gives me a little credence to this now?
What's that?
In this season? When we find out Janet is actually a good place Janet. Which makes sense. Which makes sense. Because, like, think about it. Like, if the good place and the bad place wanted to sort out who these people need to go to, how would they confirm that both sides doing it impartially? They would have one person from the bad place, one person from the good place work on the thing. It all makes sense to me. I'm just saying, conspiracy theories, this is what I'm doing. I did almost start watching the season 3 episode 1 because I thought it was a continuation, because it kind of like, the seasons do this weird thing where the final episode I think is the end of the season. They do like one more episode after that, and I thought it was like, oh, I have 2 more episodes of this, and luckily enough, the streaming system caught me and said like, hey, you're starting season 3, and I'm just like, oh, XL, sorry about that. What's your thought, Austin? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant like for that good bit. That's just 100% where my brain was going.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that is thought provoking. Like, it's meant to make you think about it a lot. I feel like, I feel like season 3, if it still sits on that edge of being a really good show, I think that there's a lot of opportunities to make it a really good show, like a great show. And it's like right at that point where it's like you're at a point of a show where like it's like right here, and you're about to reach the top, which means makes it a really good show. And so when it makes it a really good show, like people will be like, yeah, it's got a good beginning and a good ending. And that's what I always want in a show. Like, I don't want a show that's just, hey, it's a good show, but the ending stinks. Because like, you can have good shows and have terrible endings, but I think this next season that we're about to watch has the potential of being a good show. Like, the things I've seen and the opportunities and the certain storylines that they could run with could make this potentially a show that I'll watch again. Because some of the stuff this season was really interesting, how they like portrayed it. I laughed. There was a lot of times I laughed this season that I didn't laugh last season. Kind of rolled my eyes a couple times last season because it was kind of cringy. But once you get into the atmosphere and the characters, then you understand, okay, because Jason, in my opinion, or whatever, that the drug dealer.
Yeah,
he drives me
John
nuts. Yeah, Jung Yu just drives me nuts because of how he does dialogue, because he's just an imbecile.
Yeah, they play
totally
him as
understand.
a massive imbecile.
Yeah, and so like I get like frustrated. I'm like, oh my gosh, just, like stop. Like I get it. He's dumb, you know. But like, you know, like the part where like he first like sleeps with that girl, and then he's like, hey, would you like some breakfast? She's like, yeah. And he's like, I can make cereal, and like leaves. I was like, ha, you know, that's the only character that irks me so far. I'm starting to warm up to Kristen Bell's character. I think she's doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
But this show is right at the edge right now where we can see if it goes any further, because I hope it just goes up. I hope that the show does a really good up. And I have a lot of theories about like the good place and the bad place and like what's going on in this whole show. And what's really weird is I'm not the only one that actually has watched, like I know a lot of people that have watched the show that I didn't know, because like I talked to a buddy of mine like a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh no, it was like 2 days ago. I was like, hey, have you ever watched this? And he's like, oh yeah, I love that show. I was like, so does it end good? And he's like, I think it did. And I was like, oh, okay, well,
all my friend who was also a big fan of the show also said the same thing. He's like, I think it ends very well. It like lands the ending very, very satisfactory. I'm like, that's good. I'm just worried about a gas leak season for this next season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you have a formula that you do for 2 seasons and then the 3rd season is completely different from that formula, I don't know how well that will be applied or received. And that's kind of where my head is right now. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like season 3, because they're all on Earth now. Like they're back to being alive to see if they become good characters. And they may all just die again and then be back to the good place. I was like, all right, well, I don't know what we're going to do in the bad place and figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yeah.
But I am pretty excited about it. I will say that it has got me to a point where I am starting to really enjoy it. So, you know, it's not like, you know, sometimes when we do watch shows, sometimes I can get to a point where I just get a little burned out. Like I'm just like, all right, it's good, but you know, I get burned out a little bit, especially like when it comes to like this kind of like style television where it's been on like, you know, like a big broadcasting like NBC. I think this was NBC.
It was NBC
for a hot minute, and then it went to Netflix.
Well, I think it's on Netflix now.
Oh, okay.
I think it was
Netflix
always NBC.
Owns it. I think Netflix owns it now, because like that's what happened with Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad is made by AMC, but it's owned by Netflix.
Yeah, I'm not sure then. I can't say then.
That's why I was wondering, because when I started watching Better Call Saul again, it was like Netflix original series, and I was like,
no, it said AMC. It said AMC.
Well, no, like if you watch it past season 2, it keeps like every episode before it says a Netflix original series, and I'm just like, I thought, wait a minute, but it's AMC. Like I was like, it doesn't make sense, and then I looked it up and it's like, oh, AMC has made the show, but the property rights are to Netflix. So I'm like, that's kind of goofy. I don't get how that works, or something like that. Because like I was wondering about that. Because it's AMC still, but Netflix supposedly has the rights to it. I don't know. Whatever. But so it's kind of hard when you can get burned out like something like this. So like I'm actually pretty happy with it, where I'm like, hey, you know, I'll probably watch a couple episodes tonight before I go to bed, you know. I'm like, hey, you know, I'll sit down and watch, because I'm in between 2 different shows right now, and I'm like, man, really want to finish this show up. And this season, the newest season just came out, and like I just got to the newest season, and then I got this too. So I'm like, you know, I'll like switch back and forth between Mythic Quest and The Good Place. So okay. You know,
I find it interesting. You know, like I think it's maybe the anime watcher as a kid in me, but I don't remember TV shows back in the day, like in the early 2000s, maybe 2010s, having such heavy plots, you know?
They didn't.
Because, like, I felt like there was more episodes, but a lot more, like, filler episodes almost, where, like, very small things change or move. I'm like, I think I would be frustrated if I would, like, tune into the episode of A Good Place, and it's, like, I don't know what's happening because, like, they're in some, like, medium place, and I'm like, I missed, like, 2 episodes, or, like, this is a different thing. What's happening?
That's why I will say something about streaming services that has saved TV, like this kind of TV, is because the problem that you have with network television is when a new episode comes out, you have to wait, unless you record it, you have to wait until they rerun it again. So, like, that's why streaming services are, you know, pretty legit with that. Because if someone watches this on network television and is like, what happened this episode? Like the next episode, I missed it. So then they could just go to Netflix and be like, oh, it has all the seasons on it. So then they just watch it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I always have problems with network television when it had plot. Because, like, I remember watching, like, Smallville, and, like, there was so many times where, like, there would be, like, this ending plot for the season, and then we couldn't get the TV to, like, get that channel for, like, 2 months.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what happened?
Then we're sitting there like,
what
what the freak? Why is everyone
like,
so
who
calm
is
now?
this? What? Why? How does Lois know he's Superman now? Or no, it was Lana. I was like, how does she know that? Like, what? And, you know, so, like, it got to a point where, you know, network television didn't really have too many big plots. And when they did, most of the biggest plot television was on cable. I remember, like, when Sopranos came out, everyone watched Sopranos, and then they were like, oh my gosh, it's so good, you know, so depth. They can't do that kind of stuff on TV. And I'm like, yes, because HBO doesn't have, like, you know, all these, they don't have any ads, they don't have commercials on their channel, on like Dish or anything like that. So they just run reruns of every single show, so then people can rewatch those. And I'm like, that's why most of the story driven ones that I've seen around my time period were on HBO, Showtime, or I forget, the Cinemax, I think that's what it was called. And so, like, they could run those different ones. I remember all the time that it was like, oh, this is an episode of Sopranos, this is an episode of Sopranos. So when you did network television, like back then when I was growing up, it was like, if it was an episodic TV show, you miss out on a lot of things, and then you'd be like, oh, what happened here? And so that's why people were so heavy with the schedule, where they'd be like, I have to go home.
Yeah, I have to go home and watch this.
I gotta watch this 8 o'clock. I remember it like that. And kids nowadays will never ever realize how
good.
Like, the two things I
you know how annoying that was.
It was annoying. I tell them 2 things that you are so happy that has happened. One, you don't have to be waiting on a phone line to call someone back. You know, like when you call them, it just sends a busy signal. It doesn't tell them that you called. Like, you just have to wait until they hang up the phone, and then you're like, hey. Landlines worked awful. And then 2 was network television, where, like, if you wanted to watch something that you were really into, I remember watching Heroes. Heroes was great. We'd watch them. First season. Yeah. We watched the whole first season, me and you, and we're like, oh, this is great. And then when season 2 came back, we didn't have local channels. Mm-hmm. So it was like, oh man, this show's gonna be awesome. Can't wait for season. And then we watched season 2, and, like, we finally got around to it. And we're like,
we didn't get to, like, watch it during the hype of everything and all that stuff. So
yeah, so, like,
no, what you're saying is right. Like, that's the issue with, like, network channels and network shows, which, you know, the streaming service helps a lot. Technology has helped a lot in that way. So stories are becoming better, more set in stone. And I actually kind of blame story writing as the reason for episodes going from, like, 24 episodes a season for a show to, like, 12, now to 8. Because before, when we had 24 episodes a show, that was so that way they could show multiple episodes all over the place at random times, and you would just enjoy the characters, you enjoyed the story. And then when it became a story, they're like, 12 episodes is 24 episodes is way too much to tell a story. Like, you run out of story like 16 episodes in, so they shrink it to 12. And then now everyone was doing 12 episodes. This is one of those 12 episodes. We get the story out. And then now what we're getting to is they're like, hey, we could actually crunch it down to 8 episodes, give them nothing but the story, and then burn those babies out of the story, and then we just release it every 2 years. Hence HBO, House of Dragon, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. I will say that for network television, this is a good show. So I'm excited for season 3. We'll see where it goes. You know, it's probably gonna be this crazy thing like how it was this season, where it was just all over. But it was a good story, so I'll give it that. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, Austin, sounds good. Molly has decided to commandeer my arm for now. But I think that basically covers it for our episodes of I almost said House of Dragon, but of The Good Place. Austin, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And thank you so much, Austin. And thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.